Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. The newly appointed #1 Buckeyes have embraced the hype of a realistic run to the title game, but against the #18 Badgers tonight in primetime, that title picture could be changing by the end of the night. Aaron Andrews is down below with Wisconsin coach Brett Bielema, so let's go to Aaron now.
Brent, thanks so much. Turnovers killed you against Ohio State last year. I know you've been harping on that all week long. What's key in taking care of the ball against this defense?
Well, good decision making. Ball security could be with the guy running with the ball and also the guy throwing the ball. So Scott's been aware of that, and we've been pretty good here as of late. We just got to carry forward what we've been doing.
Now talk about your defense. What aspect of Terrell Pryor's game have you asked them to maybe key in on tonight?
Well, last week was a little different game for him, so figure out what they're doing, be able to have the answers and get off the field on third down.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Brent.
Well, let's follow up on exactly what Aaron was asking about. If you go back to last year's game in Columbus, the Badgers dominated everything except the final score. But take a look at the bottom of that graphic. Special teams and defensive touchdowns. Ohio State with 3, 2 pick sixes, and a kickoff return turned it around completely. And so here Jim Tressel will see his defense out early tonight as the Badgers won the toss, and they will take the football to begin the game.
Interesting to see Wisconsin in front of this crowd. You think they might want to try to pin Ohio State back, get the defense out on the field, and try to affect Terrell Pryor and get the ball in the second half. But it maybe a little bit against the grain there to see Brett Bielema saying, let's take the football and attack this Ohio State defense.
So Drew Basil, the young distance kicker, if you will, for the Buckeyes, will put the ball on the tee, and we'll be underway. Brutus making the trip from Columbus, so settle in, everybody. It's going to be a noisy night in Madison, and it's a pleasure to have you along with us. It's been another wonderful Saturday in college football, and more ahead of us. Underway. David Gilreath from the 3. 25, 30, 35, explodes midfield. A chance to return the opening kickoff for 6. He'll take it to the house. 97 yards. David Gilreath, the senior from Minneapolis.
Brett Bielema, Brent, talked about how important it is for guys to make plays in this kind of game. And how about the very first play? Coach Bielema gets exactly what he wants from David Gilreath. Huge return.
Philip Welsh for the extra point. It was so quick that Ryan Wickesburg had to find his helmet to dash out on the field. He holds it, and it's 7-0.
Ohio State special teams have been a Achilles heel to the Buckeyes all year. Remember, Miami had Lamar Miller take one back for a touchdown in week 2, and this time Gilreath gets a few blocks, but guys out of their lanes, picks up and hits a seam, and then Ohio State not having the speed to be able to catch up to the very, very quick David Gilreath. But boy, what a way to set the tone for the Badgers with the opening kickoff at home. Great blocks up front, and Gilreath hit that seam, and he didn't slow down.
Herbie, just to follow up on what you were saying about the special team woes for Jim Tressel. A couple of field goals blocked, a punt has been blocked, now 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown, not to mention a punt return, and they start out that way here in Madison.
Very uncharacteristic of Jim Tressel's teams we talked about. Usually he goes on the road and he tries to make sure the special teams are buttoned up and the defense is ready to win the field position battle. And now the first play, Gilreath makes them pay and takes it all the way to the house.
He's a young man who suffered a concussion against San Jose State, back on the field tonight for the Badgers, and he delivers on the opening kickoff. 97 yards. Now it's 12 seconds later. Welsh with the kickoff, and Barry coming out for the Buckeyes. On that far side, he's to the 29-yard line. And so, Herbie, here comes Terrell Pryor. You and I certainly watched the game in which he exploded on the national scene, beating Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I think that was his coming out party. And I think this year you're really seeing a more mature Terrell Pryor and a quarterback that's in more command of the offense, making good decisions, a threat to run and to throw. And as I said in the open, Brent, I think a big key is, does Ohio State come out with an aggressive approach with their play calling, or are they conservative? We'll have to see. It looks like the shotgun to start things out.
Boom Herron is the running back to his left, and Pryor is going to throw on first down, complete for a first down, and he hits DeVere Posey, the junior from Cincinnati, with Valai back, and he makes the stop. So offensively, as you might expect, a very solid Buckeye contingent in here, with Brandon Sane stepping out as a pass receiver. Herron is more of the inside runner, and there is one of the better offensive lines in the Midwest right there. It is now 1st and 10 after that pass, and option look, late pitch to Herron over his head, ball free, out of bounds. Buckeye football at the 30, but that's a loss.
Terrell Pryor and the option here. The ball is actually, he is stretched, and as a defensive end and outside linebacker, it's exactly what you want to do, is make the quarterback get as close to the sideline. He runs out of room, decides to just kind of flip it, and it's high and it's got a lot of speed behind it. Tough for Boom Herron to be able to secure that football, and the Buckeyes fortunate that the ball went out of bounds.
Loss of 12 puts Ohio State in a 2nd and 22. Play action. Pryor dumps in underneath to the fullback, and that's Zach Boren makes his first catch, and Blake Sorensen the stop for the Badgers. Defensively, Wisconsin will line up this way, and keep an eye on number 99, J.J. Watt. He's one of the better defensive ends in the Big Ten. A little short-handed at linebacker. Mike Taylor, back from an injury from a year ago, just a sophomore. And in that secondary, Valai, I told you, is a key player, and the corners will have to hold up as Brandon Sane is on the field for his first play. Loves the wheel route. It's 3rd down and a bunch. That is Sane, number 3. Looks it for him and then goes downfield, goes up over the top, and was it intercepted? Incomplete, out of bounds, intended for Sanzenbacher, but Aaron Henry, the safety, came over and grabbed the ball but was out of bounds.
Boy, what a great effort, Brent, here on 3rd down. Ohio State giving Terrell Pryor enough time, but Aaron Henry, the former cornerback, goes airborne, and I know he's out of bounds, but it's a great effort. Good coverage, it's tight, and he just misses getting his right toe down for that interception.
And guess who's back? Mr. Gilreath. He will return this punt. Ben Buchanan. Gilreath going to take a crack at it. Out to the 35, shakes a tackle. Hasn't gone down yet tonight, but he is pushed out of bounds at the 41. Brandon Sane downfield on the coverage. The Badgers jump out ahead of the number 1 team by a touchdown. Well, the Badgers come in 5-1, and quarterback Scott Tolzien, only loss of the season up at East Lansing against Michigan State.
Tolzien, I think his efficiency very important for the Badgers, and I think tonight a couple times they're going to have to be able to throw on the early downs to get back to setting up their famous running game.
There's John Clay behind him, and Clay will come to the left. This was the play that the offensive coordinator told us he'd run because that's who we are. As we take a look at another outstanding offensive line. But of course, that's nothing new here in Madison. And you take a look at the young men who will operate behind it. Nick Toon with a turf toe, and he's a key wideout. Lance Kendricks is a wide receiver who is now a downfield threat as a tight end. And there is that front wall. And I mean, they are good. 2nd down and 6. Come right back with Clay into the middle. 1st down. as they gash the Buckeyes that time before Ross Holman makes the stop.
They have a jet sweep coming around just to freeze the linebackers just enough, and that's exactly what happened to Brian Roll. You see this all over the country. Sometimes quarterbacks will be handing it off on the jet sweep. Other times they fake it just to hold the backside linebacker. And John Clay, the coaches have been challenging him the last couple weeks. He's healthy now, and they want to see him start to run with some authority. So far, off to a good start in these first couple carries.
And as you know, Paul Chris loves that jet sweep. That's a big part of the offense here. They sit still this time, and he comes right back behind the road graders. Now defensively for the Buckeyes, and arguably this is the best defense in the Big Ten this year. Cameron Hayward, 97. You might want to keep an eye on him, folks. He'll move around that defensive front. Brian Roll and Ross Holman are both tackling machines. In the secondary, Chekwa, all Big Ten performer on the corner. Devon Torrance also enjoying a good year. Hayward is down on 2nd and 5. Quick screen, first down, and Nick Toon makes the first catch for him, and Jermail Hines with the tackle.
Nice job by Tolzien, and this is what you need to do just to keep the safeties and the defensive backs, the corners, respecting that you have this in your repertoire. It's not just about the running game with Wisconsin. Tolzien completing about 70% of his passes coming in. You touched on Nick Toon. You add in Gilreath. Lance Kendricks might be the best pass-catching tight end, not only in the Big Ten, one of the tops in the country. So they've got enough weapons on the outside to make defenses like Ohio State have to respect that element.
At the Buckeye 30-yard line. There's that look again, and Clay explodes across the 15-yard line. This young man wears number 32, and there's a penalty flag, and now 2. I want to quickly tell you why he wears 32. His father was a huge fan of Jimmy Brown, the Cleveland Brown Hall of Famer. And the young man learned at his father's knee what a great running back Brown is, and that's why he wears that number.
There are 2 fouls on the play. After the play, personal foul, number 34 on the offense. Personal foul, number 7 on the defense. Those fouls offset.
That was Ewing for the Badgers and Hines for the Buckeyes.
Great blocking up front, and you know, early in this game you're going to have some emotions flying. Ohio State a little bit frustrated. Ewing getting in there, and Hines, anytime you do that right in front of the official after the whistle, that's an obvious penalty. But how about Wisconsin's offensive line right now? The line you're talking about, controlling the line of scrimmage and giving John Clay plenty of room to operate.
Clay is still there in that deep set on 1st and 10 in the red zone. They come behind, touchdown. Badgers go up 2 scores on the #1 team in the country.
This offensive line continues to dominate, and he doesn't get touched. A couple Ohio State linebackers kind of whiffing, trying to get around the lineman. It's very tough as a linebacker. You start to try to get around a big offensive lineman, and they're just turning him away from the ball carrier, and it's very easy for John Clay, that time untouched all the way into the end zone.
Well, right after he scored that touchdown, look at former Heisman Trophy winner, that's Ron Dane, coming up to congratulate Clay, who on that drive carried 5 times for 51 yards. The numbers carved into his head, those are the numbers of his offensive lineman. He had that done yesterday. Welsh with the kickoff. And Jordan Hall comes out for the Bucks to the 25-yard line. Herbie, let's take a look at our Chick-fil-A drive recap
well,
here.
Wisconsin's getting this game started exactly the way they want. They controlled things on 6 plays, 58 yards, 51 of them on the ground by John Clay. And it's because of Wisconsin's offensive line. Look at the blocking up front. Great scheme designed by Paul Chris, the offensive coordinator. Ohio State denying some of the blocks. The safety slow to come up and fill. And right now, there's no question about it early in this game. The Badgers are taking it to Ohio State much more physically.
Both Heron and Sane. Pryor just keeps it all the way, and nobody lays a hand on him until he reaches the 47-yard line and is finally shoved out of bounds.
This is a very important drive for Terrell Pryor in Ohio State. On the road, down by 14, hostile environment, some good blocking downfield. Sazzenbacher trying to stay with the corner that time, does a good job. And this is what Pryor's going to have to do for Ohio State. Now, obviously, down by 14, not just his ability to throw the ball, but when he can scramble and create with his feet.
He picks up 22. Heron leaves. Sane is a running back next to him. There's that quick flash screen, and that is Sazzenbacher, his first reception. I might have to ask Reese what's happened to the defenses in the SEC. Oh my. Pryor back, fires, incomplete, intended for Posey. Great coverage by Fidelis. Fidelis was all over him that time.
Yes, sir, Brent. Fidelis, I think, doing a good job of anticipating the route. Terrell Pryor kind of telegraphing the ball. He breaks on the ball very, very quickly, but that's just knowing what to expect on second down and short to medium and being up close to the line of scrimmage and not giving too much of a cushion to Devere Posey. Good coverage that time by Fidelis.
3rd and 7 for Pryor and the Bucks. He's going to take off and try to run for it. Bangs for it. When you see Terrell Pryor in person, you would think, if you didn't know, that he's a defensive end. He is that big.
He and Cam Newton, right? Kind of the new age of quarterbacks. Let's see how the linebackers clear out, Brent. I think Terrell Pryor recognized that right away and thought, I can get there with my speed. He kind of aborted the drop, aborted the routes, saw the linebackers clear out, and picked up the first down.
Plus the 45-yard line. Throwing on first down, has good time for the offensive line, and then an errant throw, incomplete. Posey was in the neighborhood.
Find out what kind of composure Terrell Pryor has, where he's on the road, he's down by 14, #1 ranking, all the hype, all the buildup for Jim Tressel and the Buckeyes. David Gilreath returns the opening kickoff. This stadium's ready to collapse. It's shaking. The next drive, they move right down the field. And let's see what Pryor has right now as he's down 14. See what kind of composure and poise he has.
They bunch receivers on the left.
Let it go, let it go!
Steps in that direction, fires back in the middle, incomplete. And again, it was Posey. So far, you know, Herbie rushing the ball. It's been all Pryor here for the Bucks.
But watch Posey on the backside. He's got to be able to feel the linebackers and just kind of settle down. He did not give his quarterback any room to work with. If he would have settled down at about that the right hash mark, it would have given Terrell Pryor plenty of room to be able to throw to the backside. And there was a big window on the opposite, but he continued, and he almost put himself in coverage.
Pulls out on 3rd and 10. And a great grab, just shy of a first down by Sazzenbacher. And they're going to give him a good spot on it, it looks like. As you see the ball being put down, if the yellow marker's right on the line, and let's change that to Stoneburner, who made this great catch off the injured list. So let me correct myself. And that ball's down the ground. Will that be ruled incomplete?
I think they'll take a look at that. I think the tip of the ball hit the surface. Pryor's trying to get to the line fast, but I think they'll probably stop this.
They did not. And here comes, no, hold it. There's a penalty flag. Let's see if the communicator was trying to get the attention of the officials. The line judge quickly threw that flag and stopped it.
Prior to the snap and prior to any foul that might have been committed, the previous play is under further review.
Yeah, Jim Augustine was getting the signal down to the field to Dan Capron's crew, and they got it down in time. And the Buckeyes, as Herbie told you, were quickly trying to get the next snap. There doesn't seem to be much question about this, as the ball right on the end of it comes up in his arms, and that will be ruled incomplete by Jim Augustine here upstairs, I believe.
Stoneburner being back in the lineup, just to talk about him physically, he gives Ohio State a tight end who can actually get vertical. He's a wide receiver in high school, and you could see his hands there. You know, it's probably going to come back. You can see he's pretty athletic, pretty nimble. He's out with an ankle, so him getting back in the lineup, a big weapon for Terrell Pryor to try to use.
You know how well the Badgers have used tight ends through the years and have another great one? Well, guess who's here tonight being recruited by Wisconsin? one Nick O'Leary. Now, there are fans in Columbus who know immediately who I'm talking about. It's Jack Nicklaus's grandson, who plays for Dwyer High School down in South Florida, down in West Palm Beach. He and a couple of his teammates, including the quarterback who you saw in the Herb Street game in Cincinnati in that controversial game, another good player, being recruited by the Badgers.
You know, Brett Bielema does such a good job of recruiting in Florida as an assistant coach and a coordinator when he was at Kansas State and Iowa and even Wisconsin. He did a good job.
After further review, the receiver did not have firm control of the ball going to the ground. Therefore, by rule, the pass is incomplete. It will be 4th down and 10 at the 48-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 8:25.
That's the right call.
And that is the beauty of instant replay.
Yes, it is.
I know that sometimes the delays seem a little painful, and sometimes, to be perfectly honest, they do take too long to make the decision. But the key thing that you want, get it right.
The chains had already moved, and they had already signaled it for a first down. So now they're trying to figure out where the ball should be and making sure they get everything lined up properly.
I think they're going to bring back another 5 yards. Didn't the referee say yes? They're going to bring it back another 5 yards. He said the 48-yard line, which is what Jimmy Augustine told them upstairs. And so it'll be Buchanan punting and David Gilreath returning. And in case you were watching another game or just joining us now for a short time, Gilreath returned the opening kickoff, 97 yards for a touchdown. He's going to make a fair catch on this punt at the 11-yard line. First down and 10 now for the Badgers. There is Big Clay. John Clay, 255-pound junior from Racine, slipping and sliding on that carry. Now, this is a note here, Herbie. As far as the Buckeyes are concerned, the last time they have given up 14 points in the first quarter, they lost that game.
And you know what else is interesting? They were ranked #1 in the country in that game when they lost to Illinois. So, it's an interesting parallel. We'll keep an eye on things as it goes on, but still a long way to go in this football game, and Pryor has a chance to, I'm sure, get Ohio State back in it.
And they switched running backs, and James White, the freshman from St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale. Your first look at him here tonight for 8 yards. Chekwa makes the stop. There's a young man who's been a difference maker for the Badgers.
Great quickness, Brent, and the vision for a young back. See how the flow? The offensive line's getting a good push. This offense is designed more often really for James White on the cutback. Design cutback, the backside blocks do a good job of just trying to get Ohio State's defensive linemen on skates, pushing them from right to left. And White recognizes that. Little jump cut back to the right and picks up big yards.
Scott Tolzien with a 3rd and 2 for the offense. White stays on the field. He'll try to get the first down, and he does with a second effort. First down and 10. Up by 14. You can't be surprised at what Wisconsin is doing right now. Keep moving the chains and move the clock and keep pounding.
Amen. And you know, we had Stanford earlier this year, their 3 tight end sets, and talked a lot about Jim Harbaugh, old school offense. Now, Wisconsin, to me, is a little bit different because they're going to get into their 3 tight end sets, but they are going to be physical. They're committed to running the ball, but they also can pull it out with the same personnel grouping and throw the football to a very talented group of tight ends.
They flash it to the outside to Nick Toon, his second reception, and he picks up 9. And here, Reese, Wisconsin has jumped out to a 2-touchdown advantage of the #1 team, Ohio State. White trying to work his way toward that first down marker. Nathan Williams, the junior, makes the stop for Jim Tressel's Buckeyes.
Wisconsin just, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to keep you honest. They've thrown 2 passes tonight early in this game. Just a quick little pass, that quick pass to the outside of the receiver. Again, keep those defensive backs out there, keep them away from the running game, and then get back to running the ball. You feel like they're starting to squeeze down, fire another one out to the outside. And it's kind of just reading and reacting to what the Ohio State defense is doing.
Ewing in the game, and White is an excellent receiver also. This time they give it to him again, however, on the ground, and no more than a yard against that Buckeye defense. Homan makes the stop on White.
Ohio State's defensive line, which has been a strength for Ohio State for many years, really being challenged tonight. They're going to try to rotate as many bodies in as they can to try to keep the blockers off of players like Ross Homan and Brian Roll to allow them to be able to make plays instead of 8 or 9 yards downfield. They've got to try to penetrate and create some short yards or even negative plays.
Tolzien has completed both his passes here tonight. 2nd down and 9. He moves White over to the other side.
Keep it up.
He's looking to the right, fires high and complete. Dangerous throw, got away with it. Isaac Anderson, the senior from Minneapolis who attended Blake High School, picks up another 1st down.
And it's a good thing that Tolzien threw this on time, because Jamel Hines almost came up with a big play to get Ohio State back into this game. Hines jumps the route, but because Tolzien threw it on time and to the outside away from the defender, he was able to get away with it.
7 1st downs for the Badgers already. And on 1st down, they pound ahead. And James White brought down by Cameron Hayward.
Pretty physical in the trenches. Hayward's in there battling, trying to make a play. That time, boy, he lowered the boom on the true freshman. Came in Hayward at about 290 pounds, the leader up front for the Buckeyes. That time fighting off of a double team and knocking James White down.
As you can see the size, and Clay checks back in. The 255-pounder replaces. He gets the first call, middle, got another 1st down. So the little breather on the sideline, he comes back refreshed, and he bounces to the 40.
Keep an eye on 70, Kevin Zeitler, the guard. The right guard gets up to Ross Holman. He's been doing that the entire game. He's trying to hold on to his double team and respect that. And then once he feels that his partner is able to secure that first block, he's able to get up to the 2nd level and lock into Ross Holman. And there's nobody left there to take on John Clay.
Clay with 65 yards, 80 total rushing already here for the Badgers. Coming back with number 32, and it is Clay to the 35, and Hines forced to come up and make that tackle. And Herbie, they are working their way with this offensive line through those defensive tackles. They're opening some big holes up.
16 plays, 13 runs, and controlling the line of scrimmage. And Ohio State on almost every snap has sometimes 8, sometimes 9 guys up close by the line of scrimmage in the box trying to stop this running game, and they still can.
2nd and 5. Here comes Clay again, and that time Hines was coming from the backfield, and he was able to jam it up back there. So Jimmy Haycock brought a little outside pressure that time, and they were able to sort of jam up the point of attack for Clay, and he will take himself over to the sideline.
The answer to that, not necessarily here on 3rd down, Brent, but the answer if Ohio State starts to blitz the safeties to help out and run support is a little bit of play action. You fake the success of the running game and then hit Lance Kendricks behind those linebackers and behind the safeties for a big pass play.
Now White, good receiver we have pointed out, checks in on this 3rd down play. Tolzien looks the other way, and it'll depend on the spot. Chekwa does a fine job on Anderson that time. The point of the football may be touching the line.
Looks like they're not even going to bring out a measurement here, but Chekwa that time, great reaction to come up, because it looked like Isaac Anderson, Brent, really had enough room to be able to make the catch and then get upfield for their 1st down.
Timeout has been called. It's possible that the spot is being reviewed on this play. Let's take a look at this with the line in it. Remember, that line is not official now.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. 4th down.
This drive started back on the Badgers' 11. yard line. And right now, the 13th play of the drive coming up. The Badgers with a 14-0 lead on the Buckeyes. Tolzien under center. Straight ahead. Peter Kahns is a sophomore from Neenah, Wisconsin, 6'5", 313 pounds. And the coaches here think he's going to become an outstanding center. He led the way that time for Tolzien.
Pretty nice as a quarterback when you have Kahns and company leading your way on a quarterback sneak. Probably the shortest gain that Wisconsin's had all day. But that offensive line doing a good job, got enough of a push there to easily allow their quarterback to pick up that first.
So the quarterback from Rolling Meadows, Illinois, 6'3" senior, back under center. Here's the handoff to the young running back, and that shows you why they are so fond of him. Holman makes the tackle on White, and the students hold up those sheets of white paper to honor their freshman. He has a little bit of a burst, too. If he gets daylight, he can take it. I
think people assume because of Clay weighing in at 255 pounds and White at about 198 that he's the quick back and Clay is the power back. And maybe that's true to a certain extent, but as you just saw right there from James White, he's going to lower his shoulder and he's going to try to carry some defenders for yards.
Kendricks is the tight end on the right side of the formation. Now he flexes off. They come back with White, and not this time, as the Buckeyes were ready. Johnson, Orion Johnson, the sophomore from St. Petersburg, Florida, comes up to make the stop. The fans here appreciate the effort by the Badgers in the first quarter. They trail the Badgers 14-0. We get started here with the second quarter, and White, the freshman running back, flares out. Tolzien on the move and wide open, and that's the young man who returned to kickoff. David Gilreath scored the game's first touchdown, but hang on, penalty flag coming back.
Brent, I think there's a late hit here on the quarterback by the defensive end.
Foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 43. The penalty will be assessed half the distance to the goal. First down.
Two things. Nathan Williams comes in late and hits Tolzien, but the other thing is Devon Torrance on third down giving such a soft cushion to the receiver Gilreath. Third down, you've got to tighten things up on the outside. Once he made the catch, very, very easy for him. Look at the room that he has to work there to make Torrance miss him and then get upfield.
I know some of you disagree with that call, but remember, they are really protecting these young men more than ever this year in college and in the National Football League. John Clay in as the running back behind a fullback. First down and goal. Here comes Clay. Struggling to get back to the original line of scrimmage as we take a look back at how Specific is doing in the red zone, and it's brought to you by Verizon, and the Badgers have been very effective.
They sure have. And you know, last week, I know it's Minnesota, but it is a rivalry game. 6 times in the red zone, 6 touchdowns. So they come into this game with a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum off of last week's game. And the way John Clay is running, wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a little bootleg or play action pass.
And here's Clay. Stopped just short of the end zone. It'll be third down and goal inside the 1-yard line. Probably you'd be tempted to come right back with the same play.
It's working, and I thought maybe Paul Chris might try to catch. Look at Ohio State, 11 guys in tight. Well, you fake that, and you maybe try to slide a tight end behind that. It's probably an easy touchdown, but John Clay is so successful. This offensive line still getting such a big push, and that time Hines showing his toughness at 215 pounds, meeting the big tailback there and holding him out of the end zone. Big third down.
Over the top for Clay for his second touchdown of the night. A shocker in Madison.
Good job here, third down. Ohio State gets a little bit of a push, but a good decision, I think, there by John Clay to get airborne at 255 pounds. He gets up just enough, and nobody wants to meet him. That was very, very close there. Looks like his extension right there gets him into the end zone, but he landed very close to the goal line.
Welsh adds another extra point. Now tomorrow we will get the first official standings, and there's a good chance that it'll still be Boise State and Oregon. 1-2, Oregon idle this week, and Boise State playing San Jose State out west a little bit later tonight. So that's your all-state standings here with Dan Herron to the left of Terrell Pryor. He gets his first carry from scrimmage and no more than a yard. That's only the 12th offensive play. John Clay watching for the Badger bench. Buttram makes the stop for the Badgers.
You know, you and I did a game last week down in Miami, and we watched a game that we thought would be inspiring, in Florida State and Miami, and one team showed up and played inspired. One team was physical, and that was Florida State. Through about the first quarter and working now into the second quarter, right now Ohio State looks flat. Wisconsin looks more determined. They look hungrier. Both sides of the ball, they're winning the battle up front in the trenches. You wonder how things can begin to turn for Ohio State the way things look right now.
Pryor is looking to turn things. Going deep down that far sideline, got a man covered, and there was contact over there on the play. No flag. Corey Brown, the freshman from Pennsylvania, covered by Niles Brinkley, and I mean, Brinkley was on him like a glove.
He was, and Brown has great speed for a true freshman. He can get behind coverage in a hurry, but that is great coverage. Brinkley doing a good job, finds the football. That's very key for a defensive back. Locates the football, and the receiver's eyes, Brown, signifying that he's looking for the ball. His hands go up. Brinkley finds it and makes the turn.
That'll save you an interference call.
Absolutely.
When you're looking at the ball.
Absolutely.
That official sees that you're playing the football and not the man.
You have a right to the ball.
Absolutely. It looks like we've got a stoppage here, a timeout. On this third down play.
Ohio State.
Ohio State and Trussell wanted to talk about it. They'll bring the offense over to Jim. We are back now for 3rd and 9 for Terrell Pryor and the Bucks. He is 0 for his last 5, 3 of 9 overall. Flushed, eludes a tackle, reaching for the first down, and he's got it as he steps out of bounds.
3 receivers off to his left to the field. He has DeVere Posey off to the right, and I looked at that formation and I thought either DeVere Posey to the right is going to have to make a play, or Terrell Pryor is going to have to scramble. And this gives you an idea what he can do in the open field. Doesn't necessarily look like he's moving that fast, but at 6'6", he's with those long legs, he's covering a lot of ground. Obviously able to get away from the defensive line, but even the linebackers and safeties in space have a tough time bringing him down.
Sane steps out of the backfield. Pryor going to try to set the screen with Herron the other way. Crosses midfield to the 45-yard line, and Cahoot, big defensive lineman, back there making the stop, number 91.
Jim Tressel trying to slow down this aggressive Wisconsin defense. They're feeding off of this lead in the crowd and the energy of the stadium. And I think on a first down call, smart call by Jim Tressel there, trying to go back to the backside screen, trying to get that Wisconsin defense flowing to the field to follow Terrell Pryor.
With Kirk Herbstreit and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brent Musburger. We welcome you to Saturday Night Football on ESPN. The #1 team in the nation, down 3 touchdowns. And here is Herron picking up a first down for the Buckeyes. We're putting together the most impressive drive of the night. Claxton, a backup linebacker, makes the stop. But the Buckeyes for the first time tonight, and it was a big 3rd and 9 they converted, but they are starting to move the ball a little bit.
You and I also talked at the break about Ohio State being down, all the pressure being #1. The importance of having a head coach like Jim Tressel who calls the plays, not to abort the game plan, try to kind of stick to your guns. It hasn't gone well, and just try to work yourself slowly and methodically back into the game. But this drive is big for Ohio State, obviously.
The read option. Pryor takes it, trying to get the corner, and he is tripped up. And that was Finellis, who's made a couple of fine plays. The corners for the Badgers have made strong plays here in the first half.
That is a great play by Finellis. This is not an easy thing to do. Watt, who's got good speed as a defensive end, almost chases down Pryor, makes him go to the outside. But you're right, Brent, the corners from Wisconsin, they're not going to go to Indianapolis at the combine and blow you away. But in this system, they're just physical, they're tough, they're gritty, they're willing to do a lot of the dirty work to allow the Badgers to get the rest of their defense in position to make plays.
2nd down and 5. And a big hole for a first down. Herron into the red zone. Brought down by Valai.
Oh, they decided this time, Wisconsin decided to bring a blitz, and they actually put themselves right out of position by blitzing. They took a chance, rolled the dice a bit on first down. You could see Claxton on one side coming through, St. Jean, the middle linebacker, coming through. And when they didn't make the play at the line of scrimmage, there's nobody left there, and that's big yards for Boom Herron.
Herron, the junior from Warren, Ohio, gets the handoff again and tries to break the daylight in the end zone, just short of it. Down to the 2-yard line, and Finellis again. But now the Bucks are knocking on the door here in Madison for the first time tonight.
And really the first time all year that Ohio State's offensive line has had a drive where they've kind of taken the fight to a good defense like this, and they're now kind of taking a page from Wisconsin's playbook saying, hey, we're going to try to get physical with you as well and try to get Boom Herron to the second level without being touched.
Here's Pryor running all the way, cut back and stop. St. Jean, the linebacker, up for the stop.
Anytime you put the ball in the hands of Terrell Pryor, especially down inside the 5-yard line, it's always a threat to a defense. St. Jean that time in perfect position, but you like to see the ball on the right hash. Give Terrell Pryor that ability to get out on the edge, out on the perimeter of the defense with the chance to either throw the football or, if it's covered, take off and run and head to the corner.
2nd down and goal for Pryor.
Pryor now motioning out.
He motions out. It's the Wildcat. It's Herron back there with a fullback. He'll run it to the left side, and he is stopped. Picked up about a yard. It'll bring up 3rd and goal. Trussell trying to get his running back to the point of attack a little bit quicker on that direct snap, which is why you see so many teams using the pistol. The Buckeyes have used their version of it a couple of times in this drive, where you line the quarterback up only 4 yards behind the center and the tailback right directly behind him. Now they split him off to the side on 3rd down and goal for Ohio State. Pryor, and he won't make it. And suddenly it is 4th and goal. Sorensen, St. Jean make the stop. Trussell electing to keep it on the ground that time rather than putting it in the air.
Yeah, as a quarterback, when you run the option, when you take the football, you have to have a mindset that you're going to keep the football and you're going to take it to the end zone until they take you away. Now, granted, there's 2 defenders there, but you'd have to have an aggressive mindset and attack the defense, force them to take you away, and then try to pitch it out to your tailback. He was very tentative there on 3rd down.
27-year-old Devin Barkley to attempt this field goal. And the one-time MLS soccer player puts the #1 team in the nation on the scoreboard, but they still trail it 21-3. Basketball team, their first workout of the year. They return to historic Wisconsin Fieldhouse for the first time since '98. And there was Michael Finley out on the floor. Well, I have a moment. I want to pass along condolences to the Ohio State family and the family of Larry Siegfried, who passed away after suffering a heart attack. He was a member of one of the best college basketball teams ever. Jerry Lucas, John Havlicek, Bob Knight, Mel Knoll, Joe Roberts, and Larry Siegfried, who is no longer with us here tonight as the Buckeyes defend that kickoff. And it's time now for the Aflac trivia question. And Herbie, who are the 3 quarterbacks? And they're all big names, besides Terrell Pryor, since '98 now, to return to school after being named the Rose Bowl MVP. I'm going to give you a hint.
I got 2.
A couple of them won national championships.
Okay.
We'll give you that. I mean, it's big names.
Boy, that's a big hint.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm feeling good.
I got you last week.
I know. You've been excellent all year, I might add.
I'm doing okay.
Okay. First down and 10 now for Scott Tolzien and the Badgers, who lead at 21-3. Going deep, got a man. Incomplete. So Kyle Jefferson, a senior, number 3, and Torrance is the defender.
Brad, I think they're trying to catch Ohio State napping. You could see the slot receiver this time, Toon, a little out and a little up. He actually had Hines in one-on-one coverage, but the timing wasn't there. Remember, this is a team that's been running and running and running. That time, they got a matchup with one of their better receivers, isolated against Jermel Hines, who doesn't play great man-to-man coverage. They had him beat on an out and up. They just weren't able to execute.
That's Tolzien's first incompletion. And they come battering back with big John Clay from Racine, Wisconsin. And he picks up the first down. With Ron Dane here tonight, he reminds you a little bit of Ron, the way he's been running.
And again, he had surgery, 2 surgeries in the offseason for his ankles. He's been a little bit tentative coming back this year. Last week was a little bit of a glimpse of how he was coming back. Went over 100 yards last week against Minnesota, but the coaches said he's had a great week of practice. And because James White has been stealing so many of the headlines, people have kind of forgotten a bit about John Clay.
White replaces Clay. There's that flash screen now to the outside, and Toon, he picks up another first down. If that holds up, Herbie, did you tell me that would be 3 straight losses for the Gators?
Yeah, that's not good.
There's White crushing across the line of scrimmage, picking up a couple. Let's check in down below with Aaron, and there is a penalty flag, but let's go to Aaron anyway.
Brendan, just want to give you an update while we wait on word about this penalty here. Ohio State's defense, after John Clay ran in his second touchdown, defense came over to the sideline, throwing things, throwing cups, their helmets. The Buckeyes coaches came in very quickly to kind of cool them down, give them a talking to. So it'll be interesting to see how they react here on this drive. Heads up, too, guys. Ross.
1, 10-yard penalty, first down.
One more thing, Brent. Ross Homan, linebacker for Ohio State. He actually had his shoe off with an ankle injury, so we've got to keep an eye on him tonight.
Wow. Yeah, he's a very good linebacker. They can ill afford to lose him in a fist fight like this, which is what they're going to have the rest of the way with Wisconsin's offensive line and those running backs.
And John Newsome now comes in, and they'll move Andrew Sweat over to that linebacker position that Ross Homan was playing. But interesting report from Aaron. This defense for Ohio State has 7 senior starters. It's a veteran group. Now, this is uncharted waters to be on the road down like this, but they've been around and played a lot of football.
So it is 1st and 20 for Tolzien, and the penalty, after the penalty, I should say, on Toon. Tolzien straight back, takes off. Not going to hurt you, but he wasn't going to gamble on an interception at this point in the game. Williams brings him down. You could see how he was securing the ball.
First time that Ohio State's been able to get pressure on Tolzien, and he actually, instead of just firing it out quickly, he actually gets back into the pocket. And I think it really started with Cameron Hayward just pushing John Moffitt back into the pocket, and it forced Tolzien to bail and get out of there, and then eventually Nathan Williams brought him down.
Inside of 5 minutes, first half. Badgers lead the Buckeyes 21-3. They return the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Tolzien, the senior now, with a quick changeup at the line on 2nd and 15.
Keep it open.
Has plenty of time and throws an interception picked up by Sweat. And he has given the Buckeyes a chance at the 40-yard line.
I think a late flag came in there as well, Brent. I wonder if it's a late hit over there.
Bit of a scrum over there on the far side. You can see the coaches immediately stepping in.
Aaron just talked about Ross Homan being out of the game, and Sweat has moved positions. John Newsome is in there, and Sweat moving to a new position, steps up and makes a huge play for Ohio State.
Personal foul, late hit. Wisconsin, number 84, 15-yard penalty, first down Ohio State.
That's their tight end, Kendricks, guilty of this.
Sweat is off to the left, just barely. You could barely see him. Speaking of barely seeing him, I don't know. Scott Tolzien, I don't think saw him at all. He threw that right into the chest of Sweat, who makes a huge play. And Sweat hasn't played a lot of football this year, Brent. The main reason, they've been playing so much nickel. So tonight he's been asked to play a lot more.
Whoa! I joined the crowd. I didn't see that personal foul either. Regardless, Sanzenbacher coming around the left side. Looked to me like the tight end was going to the ground and rolled into somebody on that replay. That was a very tough call against the Badgers. Regardless, here we go, second down.
Looked like he kind of got blocked in his momentum, rolled him out of bounds.
Take another look at the end of this now. Remember, it's on 84. He's been blocked down on the ground. Rolls in. Bad call. The official didn't see how it began, that he was stumbling and falling to the ground. But regardless, second down and 9 now for Ohio State. Pryor, middle, incomplete. Posey, number 8, that's his preferred target. Sanzenbacher. They're the two wide receivers that he likes to go to in these situations. Third down here, Herbie.
Brent, I think he may have locked in that time to DeVere Posey, because look at 12, Sanzenbacher working behind the linebacker. See how he breaks free? Would have been a tight window, but a much easier throw than throwing it underneath there to DeVere Posey.
Must reach the 13-yard line. And timeout has been called. And it's the Badgers who will use up timeout. Here comes third down and 9 for Terrell now, and he's sacked. Sacked back at the 29-yard line. That was J.J. Watt, and what a story this young man is. Once a tight end over at Central Michigan, transferred back, walked on, and here he is. And
the right tackle, J.B. Shugarts, just whiffed. On third down and long, Shugarts just misses Watt. You got to expect an outside move. Shugarts is surprised, and the quickness for the size of J.J. Watt at 295 pounds, he went right around him.
So here comes the Barkley field goal attempt, a 45-yarder. No good. The Badgers have returned a kickoff for a touchdown. Now they survive a field goal as he slides it to the left. It is still all Wisconsin. John Clay and the Wisconsin Badgers have stunned the #1 team 21-3, but can they keep it up? The key here, Ohio State gets the ball to start the second half, and Herbie, this might be the most important drive of the year as far as the Buckeyes and Terrell Pryor are concerned.
Yeah, it definitely is the most important drive of the year for Ohio State and their offense and their hopes of trying to get back into this game. But if you look at it as an individual, there's never been more on a drive in Terrell Pryor's career than right here.
So here we go. At the goal line, and coming out is Jordan Hall, a former high school teammate of Terrell Pryor's. Well, Herbie, there's been all of the criticism as we take a look at what the kicking team didn't do for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, the opening play and special teams have been a problem for Jim Tressel's ball club this year. The opening kickoff on the road keeps the crowd in the game and gets them to believe, gets Wisconsin to believe. Their offensive line, give them a lot of credit. Big John Clay's been having his way, already 88 yards rushing in the first half. And you wonder, not only could Terrell Pryor get it going, but what can Ohio State's defense do to slow down Wisconsin from running the ball?
Now, here we go now to take long look at #2. He'll have to throw as well as get the running game going one step at a time. And Herbie, you made such a key point about Jim Tressel in the first half. He's certainly not a coach at this stage of his career who's going to panic. As you take a look at the summary that we have, the Badgers 2 scoring drives, 25 plays, 147 yards. And you can see the Buckeye offense there, how sluggish it has been. A couple of punts early in the game, and they allowed 138 rush yards. And I see, Herbie, that we have an injured player. Jordan Cahoot of Wisconsin is down. Big defensive lineman.
Yeah, a big freshman who's really been holding the point really good for the Wisconsin defense in the interior. 1 of 8 on passes of 5 yards or more, so not a lot of success downfield tonight for Pryor.
Hemer moves in at defensive tackle, and there is Watt again. Second sack of the night for J.J. Watt.
Look at the pit here, the left side. J.J. Watt just gets to the inside of the sophomore, the tight end. Fragel just gets underneath. Look at that. That's a man against boys against the tight end. Just pushes him to the side and attacks down. Terrell Pryor never had a chance.
Herbie, Coach Trussell telling us that he has the strongest hands he's seen on tape of a defensive lineman, and now he's seeing it in person as Brandon Sane comes in. Look at the size of those mitts. 3rd down and 8. Plenty of time, no receiver, now in trouble again, and Watt is picked off, and that allowed Terrell Pryor to complete the pass to Dane Sanzenbacher, the senior from Toledo.
Boy, great patience by Terrell Pryor. Looked like J.J. Watt got off so quick. Look at that, right with the football. Shugarts does his best to actually double team him that time with Bryant Browning. But this is where I think Terrell Pryor's really matured as a quarterback. He didn't panic. Most importantly, as he's buying time, Brent, he kept his vision downfield and eventually found his man.
Danny Herron back in as the running back. And he picks up a strong 7 yards. Sorensen makes a stop. Incidentally, Mike Taylor, the starting linebacker for the Badgers, we get word injured knee. He may or may not return. He missed much of last season because of that injury. Then a young man by the name of Borland suffered another shoulder injury, and so they are without him. As you watch the linebacker there on the sideline, not wearing his helmet, not a good sign. 2nd down for the Bucks. First down on the Heron run.
You and I talked about it to start the half. You look at the score, you think 21-3 in the second half. Not a lot of time for Ohio State to get back in the game, and we continue to go back to Jim Tressel and his ability to remain calm in this kind of situation. Not abort the game plan, stick with what you think you can get done with the running game, and eventually get back to Terrell Pryor in the passing game and his creativity, but you can't get away from trying to still run that football.
Slipping is Herron, and he could not get away from Sorensen. Great play by number 9. The All-State, good hands here tonight. And Herbie, let's take a look at these hands of Watts.
Well, you know, and for his size, one of the great things you see from defensive linemen is they use leverage and they're able to use their hands. And J.J. Watt at 6'6", 295 definitely uses his hands and his quickness to make plays against the run and also pressure Pryor when he drops back to throw.
2nd down and 9. Now Pryor's going to back out. Got a man wide open, and a great grab by Sanzenbacher. Dane Sanzenbacher goes up and pulls it down as he broke wide open. That was a good play by the quarterback and the receiver.
Yes, sir, Brent. And a play like this takes time. Look how long this route is. You have one receiver just clearing the defensive back, and then the other receiver from the inside making his move to the outside. It takes a long time. The line this time does a good job, and Buttram almost gets there to be able to deflect the football, but the line held up and gave Pryor the time to make the throw.
From the 26-yard line, Boone Herron picked up about half a yard. Sorensen again making the stop.
These Wisconsin linebackers, right at the snap of the football, they're reading their keys and they're attacking downhill. The last few plays when Ohio State is lined up in a certain formation, St. Jean on one side, Sorensen on the other, Kevin Claxton really attacking downhill, trying to take away the ability to run the football by Boone Herron and Ohio State.
Sane checks in. Terrell will follow him, and Sane makes a good seal block, and it's a first down for the Buckeyes. So how about number 3? Sealing it up, and watch Terrell.
Yeah, a great block by Sane. And also to the top right of your screen, Posey makes a good block on the corner. Finellis got just enough, made him collapse, kind of submarined him, and it gave, I think, Terrell Pryor enough room to be able to fight for that first down.
So this is the first drive of the second half, and the Buckeyes have taken it to the Badger 13-yard line for a 1st and 10 with Cahoot headed off after being injured.
in the loudest part of the stadium. They're going right into the teeth of that student section.
And now they put Heron in the Wildcat. Terrell Pryor up at the top of your screen, and here comes Heron. Looking for daylight, end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State. Second time tonight that Jim Tressel has called that play in the red zone.
How about how physical Boom Heron is here? This is a defensive tackle that gets inside and gets penetration. That was 87 Hemer, and Boom Heron, undersized at about 5'10", 200 pounds, just gave him a stiff arm and then continued. Once he got away from Hemer, good job of blocking on the left side and got him into the end zone.
Devin Barkley. So the Buckeyes deliver on their first drive.
Just talked about how important it was for Ohio State, for Terrell Pryor, get into 21-10. They did what they needed to do. Now with the defense answer the bell to be able to stop Wisconsin from running the ball.
Game on, Herbie.
Kind of has the feel, Brent, of Alabama, Arkansas from a few weeks ago. And Alabama, South Carolina last week were #1s on the road and in trouble. Does Wisconsin kind of start to work the clock and get conservative, or they keep attacking Ohio State?
Well, here comes Clay. And he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Chekwa comes in from his defensive back spot and makes the stop. Clay with a huge first half. For those of you who just joined us at the top of the hour, Wisconsin exploded for 21 unanswered points, and Clay rushed for 86 yards in that first half and scored a couple of touchdowns. Now when he comes to the sideline, that means that the 5'10", 198-pound freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, James White, he leads this team in all-purpose yardage, but we have not seen him return a kickoff here tonight. They've been using it from scrimmage.
Tolzien sees man coverage on the outside.
Keep it out, man.
Looking to get after it. Comes back inside, and he did just that, Herbie. Nick Toon, the son of Al Toon.
He made this check at the line. He saw the matchup that he wanted. He spends a lot of time in the offseason with Nick Toon as his guy. You know, it's the middle of June, July. You're looking for a receiver to throw. Nick Toon's the guy that wants to always throw with Tolzien, and there's a certain comfort level there. He sees him one-on-one against Chekwa and makes a great throw there, and a good adjustment by Toon.
Toon's sister plays on the Wisconsin volleyball team, and he has a second sister who plays on the Michigan volleyball team. So the Toons are very busy during the winter. Here's a handoff now to White, and he is stopped. Al Toon, of course, was a legendary receiver here in Madison. You can see what he accomplished here, and now his son is chasing some of those marks that Pop set. Paul Chryst could not say enough about Al Toon as a father. He said he is such a good dad. Comes around practice, but he doesn't take anybody aside, doesn't tell anybody how to play the game. He's just a father in support of his children, and he was very complimentary. Second down and 7. White. And now this will make third and short. All right, Reese, and here it is third down and 2 for the Badgers. Lead at 21-10. Short. Good defensive stand by the Buckeyes that time as John Clay had checked back in, and Andrew Sweat, who intercepted the pass, made the stop.
Absolutely. And boy, does he do a great job here on third and short. Andrew Sweat fights off a block, and think about how much the offensive line was able to dominate the linebackers. Watch 42 right in the middle, able to fight off that block and then get underneath the ball carrier and keep him short of the first down. That's a big-time play there by Sweat.
Jordan Hall is back deep. Brad Nortman to punt it. Jordan waving everybody away from it. And it will be downed at the 6-yard line. The beautiful Capitol building here in Madison, Wisconsin. And while you're away, Terrell Pryor firing up his troops, slammed his helmet to the ground and delivered the message, let's saddle up and go again. And here comes Terrell himself. Picking up 8 yards on that carry. Jay Valai makes the stop.
Well, the last time Ohio State had the ball, just the way Jim Tressel drew it up, I'm sure at halftime, Brent and I talking about how important it was to be able to get points down 21-3, and they did just that, going right down the field. Pryor making some plays with his arm, with his feet there, and then boom, Herron right here, boom, a big stiff arm, and then takes it into the house for a touchdown. Defense holds up, makes some plays, and the Buckeyes offense back out of the field.
You bet. Second down and 2, and here is Herron being wrestled, but not before he picks up the first down. St. Jean trying to stop him and couldn't.
It's one of those games where it seems like every series we're talking about, this series is big and this series is big, and I think when you're #1 and you're on the road and you get down by 21, it almost kind of gets into that mode where every series becomes imperative for both Wisconsin. This is a big stop for Wisconsin on this drive, and also for Ohio State. You imagine if they're able to cut this to 21-17, what that would do to Wisconsin after having such a big lead.
Low snap, handoff to Herron. Good hands that time by Terrell Pryor as he made the handoff, and Sorensen again making the stop for the Badgers.
Well, those linebackers continue to be very, very active. Surprised Ohio State coaches upstairs trying to see Sorensen, St. Jean, and Kevin Claxton flying downhill to be able to try to slow down the running game. And a lot of times the easy thing to do to try to slow that down is come back with a quick play action, hit a pop pass to a tight end or receiver behind it.
2nd and 7. 3 wide and a fullback in this formation.
Keep it up.
Pryor slashes underneath to Posey, and they'll spot that ball, I believe, for a first down. Amazing, and there is a penalty flag. The umpire calling holding, I believe, as Boom Herron is battling through. Meanwhile, Herbie, in a game that we are certainly interested in the outcome, unbeaten Oklahoma rolling over Iowa State 31-0.
Number 65, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Next week, Oklahoma has to go to Columbia, Missouri for a battle of the unbeatens as Justin Bourne is called for holding.
And after what happened today in Lincoln with Mack Brown in Texas getting all over Nebraska, all of a sudden all the attention falls on Bob Stoops and the Oklahoma Sooners as far as trying to make a run. And Missouri's undefeated, but Oklahoma's up near the top 5 in the country, undefeated, with Nebraska taking a step back. They become the team that people are watching.
Sane alongside Pryor. Goes to 19 after the penalty. Slips a tackle and makes it to the 26-yard line, where it will be 2nd down and long. Finellis up to make the stop on Terrell.
Just a designed run there to try to get him to the perimeter of the Wisconsin defense. And you know, even though he's covering ground with those long legs, at that time Wisconsin, pretty good job of defending him. If you let Terrell Pryor with his size build up momentum, then you've got your hands full. But if you can make him kind of stumble around and make cuts, then he's not nearly as effective as a runner in the open field.
2nd and 11 and back to pass. Diving reception for the first down by Posey.
For all the young wide receivers, DeVere Posey putting on a clinic on how to come back to the football. There's the first down marker. You come back to the ball, and because he's willing to come back and fight back to the ball is down low. Terrell Pryor, a little bit of a long stride, but because Posey's coming back, he's able to get his arms underneath the football and make the catch.
Both Herron and Sane on for this play. Going to keep it in the air. Pryor runs to the Sanzenbacher, working that far sideline again, and Finellis. And in these two drives, what stands out are the passes that Terrell Pryor is starting to throw.
He really looks like he's in command right now, making some great throws. I think Brandon Sane moving out to receiver, a little bit confused there with his route, but it did not affect Terrell Pryor and Dane Sanzenbacher. In a rhythm right now, these first two drives in the second half, Ohio State seems to be gaining in confidence.
Play fake. Pryor complete to Herron. Not much of a gain as Sorensen's up to make the stop on the running back. So as we take a look at what Terrell Pryor has done first half, second half, you can see how he has picked it up here. Perfect so far in the second half.
And what I think is interesting is down 21-3, Jim Tressel's selection of the play calling. Not getting away from that running game, doing just enough of mixing in the run with the pass and giving Pryor a chance to be that much more effective throwing the ball.
Minute and a half in the third, and there is that run play, Herbie. Just as you said, he's not giving up on the run. Stopped by Armstrong, Ethan Armstrong, backup linebacker, now on the field for the Badgers.
Boy, big third down coming up here for both teams. You wonder if Ohio State, wonder if Jim Tressel would look at that as 4-down territory, or would he look at it and think, you know what, even if we come up short here, either the long field goal or possibly a punt, but it's a big third down.
Sane is on the field. Delays and comes out, and Terrell Pryor takes off. Throws it back middle, and caught by Sanzenbacher for a first down. Made something happen.
Shades of Anthony Gonzalez. Troy Smith to Anthony Gonzalez back in '06. Unbelievable effort here. Wisconsin trying to bring him down. He does the Cardinal sin. You never throw back after you scramble to the outside. But because he had his man, and I think it's because Sanzenbacher that time does a good job again of being able to find the football and going up and making that catch.
Sanzenbacher with 2 fine catches this half. Cut back by Terrell Pryor, what he does so very well. Picking up 8 on that first down as the final seconds tick away. Student body about ready to jump around here in Madison, but they're going to jump around with a little unease as Terrell Pryor is bringing them down, and the big defensive lineman is coming back. That's Jordan Cahoot. We will be right back. It's jump around time in Madison. The Wisconsin Badger tradition between the third and fourth quarter. But tonight, jump around has a wrinkle. Take a look at the Ohio State Buckeyes sideline. They all started jumping around.
As you said, game on. Fourth quarter's going to get interesting.
Jordan Hall has now checked in. He's thrown a halfback pass, and he has run. Trying to battle for that first down, and Claxton makes a stop. Herbie, let's go back to 2008 when we were here.
Yeah, remember 2008, Terrell Pryor, really, this is the first time he was tested. He was a true freshman. He'd taken over that year for Todd Beckman. Ohio State's down by 4. They need a touchdown. He leads them on a 12-play drive late in the game to an eventual game-winning touchdown. So he's familiar with this atmosphere, and he's familiar with trying to execute when the pressure's on. He did that as a true freshman back in '08.
Needs a yard on third down. Herron gets it easily. And now it is that Buckeye offensive line that is starting to exert itself. Brewster, Browning, and Boren in the middle. And there is the fullback, the younger brother of the guard.
Watch his block, Brent. You'll love it. Zach Boren leading the way. Big block on that linebacker. Armstrong puts him on his back. That's one in the film room where the players have a lot of fun. He takes on a linebacker, drives him, keeps driving, and puts him on his back and gives Boom Herron enough room for the easy first down.
Jordan Hall back on the field. And they line him up in the Wildcat. Remember, he has been able to throw it. He'll throw again. Looking, couldn't find a receiver, so he'll take off. To the 13-yard line.
I'm glad you brought up his ability to throw the football, because I think it affected Wisconsin. They knew what to expect because of the throwback earlier this year. It almost set up like a draw, like a quarterback draw. Wisconsin respected his ability to throw the ball so much, and you know that they've been looking at that look all week, that when 7 takes the direct snap, get ready, but it opened it up and cleared the area there for him to pick up big yards.
2nd and 4. Buckeyes inside the 10 and a timeout.
Brett Bielema
all the way down to the end of the field wanted that timeout.
He ran about a 4.940 there. That was pretty good for the big fella.
Markers at the 4-yard line. This is second down for Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes, who have dominated the third quarter. Bourne is set in front of Heron. Play action fake. Pryor keeps it himself, tries to get the edge, short of the first down, and Sorensen was over there. Valai helped jam the play up at the point of attack, and Sorensen brings him down.
Great call, Brent. Valai, too, the top of the screen, the safety. He's going to try to fight and hold off the best he can against Browning, but the fact that he got to the outside and kind of set the edge, that forced Terrell Pryor back to the inside, which is exactly where the rest of the Wisconsin defense, led by Blake Sorensen, was waiting for him.
Now, Trussell did not throw the ball earlier in the first half when he got down here on third and let's see what he does here. Needing 3, keeps it on the ground and got the first down. Heron right over the top, and it'll be first and goal for the Buckeyes.
Tell you what, this Ohio State offensive line tonight, when they've needed to come up with some tough yards at crucial moments, give them a lot of credit because they've gotten a good push, and there is Zach Bourne again getting the block that he needs to pick up on the linebacker to free up the running back to pick up the first down. But the offensive line, much maligned offensive line at times, doing their job tonight.
Against goal line, it'll be Heron again behind the left side, and it will be second down and goal.
This is a 18-play drive. They converted third down 3 times. Here's that push, much like what Wisconsin relied on earlier in the game. When it's working, you continue to go back to it. Now they're inside the 1-yard line. That is 7 straight running plays for the Buckeyes.
Make it 8 straight. Touchdown, Heron. Mike Adams and Justin Bourne on the left side. The left tackle and the left guard from Dublin, Ohio and Pinkerton, Ohio. They blow it open.
How neat is it for Justin Bourne, the senior who transferred from Michigan, to have his younger brother, Zach Bourne, the leading fullback. And if you're Boom Heron, you follow 65 and 44 to the promised land every single time in short yardage.
Now is he going to try to get it on the 3? Boom Heron checking the playbook. Trussell had come out to the 25-yard line. He's got his offensive personnel out there right now. They'll try to get it on the 3. Go for 2. Here's Pryor, going to pull back, fire backside. Got it. A 2-point conversion. Reed Fragel, his first catch of the night. They are back to within 3. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. This is beautiful action by Pryor. At the Quaker Steak and Lube and all the other wonderful pubs in Madison, Wisconsin, I can imagine that everyone is glued to their TVs right now. There is no bigger series than the one coming up for the Badgers. They've been dominated so far here in the second half. And now the Buckeyes have closed to within 3. From the 1, David Gilreath. Out of bounds on that far side. And we take a look at tonight's extraordinary performances on this eventful Saturday again. Texas, a 10-point underdog, went to Lincoln and shocked Nebraska this afternoon. But there were others. Iowa winning in Ann Arbor, and now they set sail after a Big Ten title. Not to overlook the shootout with Auburn hanging on and beating Arkansas. And tonight's extraordinary performance brought to you by the ABC show No Ordinary Family. And that's on Tuesdays at 8, 7 Central on ABC. 21-18 now. Scott Tolzien has James White at the I-back. They're going to play fake, and they're going to put it up on first down. He throws in underneath to Brady Ewing, his fullback, Andrew Sweat. Herbie, talk about Andrew Sweat and why he's making so many plays here tonight.
Yeah, I think he has shown a great deal of versatility tonight. He started on the strong side as a linebacker, really lined up mainly across from the tight end. And now, because of the injury to Ross Holman, he has made most of his plays on the weak side, playing Ross Holman's position. And that's forced John Newsome to take over for Sweat's original spot tonight. But really a lot of versatility and really his first true opportunity to play a lot of footballs tonight.
2nd down and 3 for Tolzien of the Badgers. Another play action. Going to put it back up. Dropped. White, the intended receiver. And here Reese, the #1 team in the nation, trying to come all the way back. Once down 21-0. And they slip it through to Nick Toon for the first down. What a big play.
Big 3rd down, and it's Nick Toon going up against Checkwell. Look at the line of scrimmage. I think Checkwell was surprised. He got caught off guard. He never had a chance from the beginning of that play. Toon got off the line of scrimmage without being jammed. It freed him up to get downfield, and once he got off the line that easily, it made it very simple for Tolzien to find him downfield.
Man, Paul Christ is dialing up the passing plays here with Scott Tolzien. They're not sitting on a thing. 1st down and 10. They've got the ball across midfield. John Clay back in the game. And they throw quickly to the outside, and that receiver, Nick Toon again. Hines makes the stop. They were a little bit soft over there, and he just flipped it to him.
They were soft, and the linebacker, 55 Newsome, right in the middle of the screen. See how slow he is to even recognize the football? That's what happens when you lose Ross Holman. You put Sweat on the other side, and John Newsome, as a sophomore, is getting some of his first time he's had a chance to play as well. Slow to react, giving the receiver more room to work out on the outside of the defense.
Great passing down on play action here. 2nd down and short. But they elect to play it conservatively, pick up the 1st down. Johnson makes the stop for the Buckeyes.
We've talked a lot about how Ohio State has had to have some big drives, and look, it's gut check time, and how are they going to respond? Well, with Ohio State taking over and starting to dominate the 2nd half, really a big drive for Scott Tolzien and this Badgers offense.
Buckeyes will try to hold them to a field goal. Badgers will try to finish it. 1st down across the 35-yard line. You test the wills here in the 4th quarter. 9.5 minutes. Coming back with Clay again.
There's Sweat again, Brent, down at the bottom of that pile, making plays. And Ohio State, Jim Tressel telling Aaron Andrews walking off at halftime about the adjustments and what they have to do to be able to try to tackle better and be in position better to make plays. Or whatever Luke Fickell and Jim Haycock, the defensive coordinators for Ohio State, decided to do, maybe they just motivated them. But right now, it's a different look in the trenches in the 2nd half up front for Ohio State.
Lance Kendricks has been very quiet. He's number 84 for the Badgers. James White, good receiver. Back in at running back, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale. Gilreath comes through the formation. Tolzien, time, middle. 1st down, and it was the youngster James White that time, circling out and making the play.
Ohio State looked a little bit confused at the top with, again, Newsome and Hines, and Tolzien, though, just kind of waiting his time. White comes out, sits exactly where he needs to be to give Tolzien his check down, and there's that acceleration from James White. Toon's up at the top. See 2 Ohio State defenders. One of them, Jamel Hines, runs right directly into Nick Toon, who's been battling a turf toe most of this year.
That extra tight end, big Bill Najee, comes onto the field. Toon being tended to on the side. 1st down and 10. White stays in as a running back. Hole on the left side. Into the red zone. Torrance with the stop for Ohio State.
Well, Scott Tolzien, and you said Paul Christ, the offensive coordinator from Wisconsin, deciding to mix in the play action by throwing the football. They get back to running the football this time. Big hole on the left side. James White's able to take advantage of that. But really, Scott Tolzien, we're not talking a lot about him. 12 of 15 tonight for 119 yards, making good decisions for Wisconsin in most cases.
2nd and 4. White again off the left side. Got the 1st down. Sweat makes the stop. So the 2-headed running back tandem. in Madison. Clay's carried 17 times and White 16.
And when in doubt, Brent, run to the left side with left tackle Gabe Karimi, who's all-conference a year ago, very strong, and also making his 43rd start tonight, and John Moffitt making his 36th start. He also was all-conference last year in the Big Ten.
Joe McKnight of USC, the last 100-yard rusher against these Buckeyes. And here comes White, going end zone, touchdown!
Just talked about the confidence they have on the left side, and the blocks were sustained up front. But let's give James White, the freshman, a lot of credit with fresh legs coming in throughout this football game for John Clay. Is able to kind of work his way through that hole and then breaks the tackle, shows the toughness to get it into the end zone.
The Badgers will not be denied. They're back out by 10. It's Terrell Pryor's turn when you come back. The University of Wisconsin is situated right along the southern shore of Lake Mendota. This is one of the finest college towns in this country. If you like to visit different venues and see college football games, put down Madison on your must-see list. A chance to dump number 1. From the 5-yard line is Berry. And Berry is stopped at the 28-yard line. We remind everybody now, join Mike Tirico and the gang. ESPN's Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern. It'll be Tennessee against an AFC South rival, Jacksonville. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served up by Applebee's. Always fun to gather around the TV on Monday night. Listen to the guys, catch all the highlights from Sunday. Look ahead. Keyshawn and the guys do a great job in the studio setting the scene. Now Danny Herron in as the running back. Incomplete, and it's 2nd down and 10. Zach Bourne, the intended target.
And Blake Sorensen that time forced Pryor. He could not get to the outside, and it's okay that you can't get to the outside, but you've got to be able to follow through and make an accurate throw to your fullback that slipped out to the outside. If Bourne makes that catch, he picks up a 1st down.
That is Pryor's first incompletion of this half.
Yep.
Straight back. 3rd down and 10. Torian Washington, the target.
You know, the areas that Pryor has improved the most, Brent, sometimes go unnoticed by fans, but it's his balance in the pocket. It's his footwork. It's just being in rhythm. In those last 2 throws, the first time we've seen him the whole second half, where it's not that he's making a poor read, it's he just looks a little bit off-centered, and he's throwing the football a little awkwardly there. You wonder if the pressure and him having to pass is creating that.
4th down. Posey, the intended target.
He's telling Coach Tressel to let's go for this here on 4th down. But again, 3rd time we've seen that. That time the nose of the football down, creating the spin of the football to go down towards the turf. And those 3 throws, he just looked a little bit out of sorts.
Let's talk about now 6:36. Jim Tressel's down by 10. He needs 2 scores to tie. And he elects here not to gamble, because if they fail, they would give Wisconsin just fabulous field position. So he's going to punt it away. And Gilreath makes the fair catch. 6:29 with a 10-point lead. Play action. Paul Chryst whistles up a pass, fires middle, wide open. What a play call. Pedersen, the tight end. And Hines makes the stop And the Buckeyes were not expecting that. A 33-yard pass play.
He's lined up to the right, the tight end to the right. He's just going to kind of disguise what he's doing. He clears the traffic. Good job by Tolzien to step away from the pass rush of Cameron Hayward. And Pedersen's all alone on the backside. An amazing, gutsy call here late by Paul Christ.
We may have some schools around the Big Ten or even in the Big Ten looking for a new head coach. I would say you're going to want to talk to Paul Christ. He's going to be a head coach someplace someday. He's one of the best. First down and 10, handoff now with Clay pounding away.
When you make a call like that late in the game, I think it tells you a lot about how he feels about Scott Tolzien as a senior quarterback and the trust that you have to be able to make that call. That's a big-time call late in this game. That could kill the will of an Ohio State defense, that call.
No question. When you pass up going for it on 4th and 10, you got to gamble you're going to get the ball back. You can't allow him to do this. And Clay now has rushed for 99. He'll be just 1 yard away, becoming the first back to rush for 100 since Joe McKnight. We had that game with USC. You go for it right here, and he's got it. Passes 100 yards. Remember, he did not gain 100 against Michigan State. That snapped his streak, and that is the game the Badgers lost earlier up at East Lansing.
Said it earlier, going to say it again. The left side of Wisconsin's offensive line, along with the big center, Peter Kahn's just taking over these last 2 drives, going to the veterans along with John Clay. When you really need the yards, that's where they've been able to come up with them. And Brett Bielema had told me on the field before the game, we're talking about his defense, or about his offense, and he said, you know, Ohio State, that 29-game streak without 100 yards, we've got to snap that tonight. So that was kind of a personal challenge I think Brett put on his running backs tonight for this game.
Here's Clay, tackled at the line of scrimmage. I will tell you where there are a lot of folks about to get real excited. We were there, Eugene, Oregon, a couple weeks ago. They could come to 1 in the human polls if the Ohio State Buckeyes lose this game. And remember, on Thursday, they've got UCLA.
Absolutely, and it's not a bad way to spend your off week if you're Chip Kelly and you're Darren Thomas and LaMichael James. Sit back and watch a lot of football. I'm sure there are a few Ducks out in Eugene right now that are watching this football game, and you have an off week and you move up to number 1.
And Boise State, if they take care of business and put a big number up on San Jose tonight, they figure to slide up to 3, right?
Yeah, I would think
or
they could get up to 2.
Oklahoma now.
I think they could get to 2, and I think Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. I meant 2.
Yeah, and Oklahoma becomes a big factor. They're up 45-0 on Iowa State. The big game next week for the Sooners, of course, where they go to Missouri to take on an undefeated Tigers team.
Right.
So, but now it just continues to reshuffle the deck. You know, Ohio State doesn't look like they're going to be able to come back from this, and now we just kind of sit back and wait. But Boise State and TCU, another team goes down, and it helps them. They need help. Yeah.
Because remember, they don't play Michigan State. Let's say Ohio State have won this.
Right.
A lot of these other unbeatens like Missouri and Oklahoma play each other, so they're going to take 1 down.
Absolutely.
Everything is working to Boise State's benefit here so far. There's no question about that.
Yep. They needed help, and they're getting it.
And then at 8:15 tomorrow night, we'll all check in. And before we watch the Sunday Nighter a little bit, we want to see what the BCS standings are. And again, ESPN will have those for you at 8:15 tomorrow night. So you're going to want to come on over and see how it shakes out. Obviously, it's early in the process. 3rd and 10. 4:27. Tolzien in trouble, and now 4th down, and let's see what Bielema elects to do here. Johnson makes the stop, and he's shaken up on the play. Buckeyes will use the timeout. And here is Welsh on the field. Philip Welsh to attempt a 41-yard field goal to make this a 13-point advantage. Nails it. Buckeyes have 4:14 left when you come back. So we are back in Madison. #1 in serious jeopardy of losing And that would be back-to-back weeks that we would have the #1 team upset. Alabama lost a week ago to South Carolina, and here the Badgers are dictating. 4:14 to go. From the 2, it's Berry. And he's out to the 26. And of course, every Sunday now you'll be able to catch the BCS Countdown Show for the exclusive unveiling of the new BCS rankings. Find out tomorrow night at 8:15 p.m. Eastern who's in the driver's seat. So that's 5:15 out in Eugene and along the Pacific Network. I know you'll be with us to see who's in the driver's seat. Do they make the Duck do pickups if they push-ups if they climb to #1?
He's in great shape now. He's ready for that #1 ranking.
Brandon Sane checks in. In trouble. Second down.
Another risky throw. You know, look at Ohio State giving up 31 points tonight to Wisconsin. You got to go all the way back to 2006, a game that you and I did when Ohio State was #1 and they beat Michigan that game 42-39. But it's been that long since they've given up over 30 points in a Big Ten game.
It was interesting, Herbie, that Wisconsin pounded them, especially in the first half.
Yep.
Buckeyes rallied, and then Paul Christ and Scott Tolzien, they dialed up some passing plays, and they came down for that huge touchdown to make it 10. And Pryor's in trouble now. Sane at the 40-yard line makes the grab.
They're making Terrell Pryor earn every yard. He ran to his left. He came back to his right. He almost thought he was going to break contain and get outside of Watt, but he had to come back and eventually find an open Brandon Sane. But, man, he expended a lot of energy to come up with that first down.
Clock stops at the 3:24 mark.
Again, making him work for it. David Gilbert that time, the outside linebacker, defensive end, chasing him out of bounds. Terrell Pryor needs to be aware that even though he went out of bounds, until you get to 2 minutes, when the official starts the play clock, the game clock continues. Not a lot of urgency right now out of Pryor. Ball low again.
I want to remind everybody that next week, Herbie and Aaron and I will be on ABC at 8 Eastern, and we will be in Columbia, Missouri, a battle of the unbeatens late in October. Oklahoma and Missouri.
A great game. Missouri's defense been playing very well. You typically think of Missouri, you think of offense, but their defense will challenge Oklahoma.
Pryor short of the first down. J.J. Watt, number 99, with that fear-nothing wristband.
How fitting that he makes this play. They move him to the middle, Brent. He's a defensive end, but I think they were anticipating Pryor on a quarterback draw. Great decision that time by Dave Doran, lining him up over Brewster, the center, and his quickness got around Brewster.
Diving catch by Posey. Let's see where the mark is. Right at that first down mark. Picks it up.
He came in and waved it off. Yeah, the umpire waved it off.
Trussell asking for an explanation. Instant replay will obviously take a look at. I mentioned that wristband that J.J. Watt has on that says fear nothing. As you take a look at this, instant replay will be checking this out.
Pretty good effort.
That's pretty close now.
I think he made the catch.
See what instant replay does. But there's a young cancer patient in this town, and I know he's sitting on the edge of his seat right now. Jackson Hinkins. And he's had great support from Scott Tolzien and J.J. Watt. And oh, how he loves the Badgers. And it was so great today on game day to see that the young man is now cancer-free. It was such a great moving story. The young man came here to the stadium for college game day today, and mom and dad, and it's just one of those heartwarming stories about this game, Herbie.
After further review, the receiver had firm possession of the ball for a catch, giving Ohio State a first down at the 48.5-yard line.
That's a big-time play by Posey to not only make the catch, but to be able to pick up that first down, obviously on 4th down. And you know, J.J. Watt, 99, Brent, he's going to be coming after Terrell Pryor again.
81,194 Camp Randall Stadium on hand here in Madison tonight. A sea of red for these two schools. .230 now, and Pryor and the Bucks have to hurry. Going down again, J.J. Watt.
Now they move him to the outside, and he just manhandles Mike Adams, gives him a move, and works to the inside. You talk about a combination of skills, the power, great size, great determination, and also incredible quickness for a man of his size.
2nd and 21. Down the middle, Sanzenbacher for a first down for the Bucks.
Sanzenbacher, most consistent receiver tonight for Pryor, has been making some circus catches, and just when it looked like Terrell Pryor may not be able to give Ohio State much of a chance here trying to get points on the board, Sanzenbacher comes up with a big one, and it's a nice throw by Pryor.
94 yards in the game for number 12. Pryor's got time, going end zone, out of the end zone. That was Posey, the intended target.
Obviously, Ohio State thinking touchdown. Without any timeouts, it'll come down, if they're able to get a touchdown, come down to an onside kick. But Jim Tressel trying to pull out all the stops to see if they can somehow get the football into this end zone. But again, without any timeouts, it's pretty much down to these next few plays to see if Pryor can somehow get it into the end zone without the clock running down.
Second and 10. Pryor's out of bounds, stops the clock, now down to 122. Muldoon in pursuit.
That was great coverage that time by Niles Brinkley. Locked down Posey on the outside, took him away, and that's where Pryor tried to get the football thrown to, but Brinkley never gave up on the play.
Intercepted. Let the party begin in Madison. Blake Sorensen has intercepted Terrell Pryor with 113, and come tomorrow, there'll be a new number 1.
Really, really big win for Wisconsin. And Brent, I think you and I agree, for Brett Bielema. He's come close in some of the bigger games, but for he and his team to come up with a win against Ohio State, kind of that signature win that you need, knocking off the number 1 team, knocking off Ohio State. They've been so close since he's been the head coach here, taking over for Barry Alvarez. Congratulations to Brett Bielema and his staff for putting together a great game plan and his players going out and executing.
Their last win over number 1 team, 21-14 over Michigan. That was September 12th, 1981. That was right here in Madison. Again, 1981. And now here tonight, they have knocked off number 1 Ohio State. And we will see what the human polls do, and then at 8:15 tomorrow night on ESPN, what the BCS shakes out. Boise State could certainly stay #1 in the BCS. What a feeling for these Badger youngsters to come in here and win this game. That's the good news. The tougher news is Iowa's next for Wisconsin as Jim Tressel trots across the field for the handshake with Brett Bielema. And some of the students making their way onto the field.
Oh yeah, they're going to come. They're definitely going to come out here and celebrate.
It is something to celebrate when you pick off #1 in this situation and do it the way they did it tonight.